Yo, what is up, sexy beast? Crazy Rabbit here, and today we're going to be talking about Zetsubou and Shima, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts about the map, so let's go ahead and get this shit started. So first, let's talk about how the map plays and what you should expect. So when I play this map, I get the feeling that I'm playing Shinanuma, Shangri-La, and Kino all mixed together. I get the feeling of Shinanuma and Shangri-La just from the atmosphere of the map, what the map is sort of based off of, that whole swamp feeling, and all these ruins and stuff like that. That's where I get this Shangri-La and Shinanuma sort of vibe coming from. And I get the Kino vibe from the actual layout of the map. So Zetsubou no Shima and Kino are sort of both based off a circle design. There's really no inside of the map, you're kind of running on the edge of the circle. Now just imagine a circle, but take out the middle and just have the outside ring. That's kind of Kino der Toten and Zetsubou no Shima. Kino had a pathway going through the middle so you can get from top to bottom quicker. Zetsubou no Shima doesn't have that. So if you want to get from top to bottom or from left to right, you kind of have to run around the map. There's really no cutting through. So that's where I get the kind of Kino vibe from, is the circular sort of design of the map. So next, let's talk about the strategies and what kind of strategies you should expect. So when you're playing this map, you're going to be constantly surrounded by zombies. It's a really close quarters map. There's really no big open areas like Origins or Ascension or anything like that, or like Moon. There's really no wide open areas. You're constantly going to be surrounded by zombies. It's more of a close quarters map than a wide open map. So the strategies you should expect to be running are close, compact strategies. It's going to be really fast paced, high energy. You're constantly going to be having zombies coming at you. There's really going to be no room for a break, so to say. You're constantly going to be having zombies flood in at you. And this kind of works for me because a lot of my favorite strategies actually involve close quarters combat. Like my favorite strategy in Ascension is in the MPL room, which is actually a pretty small room. It's the one underneath Jug, and that's a really close quarters area, and you constantly have zombies coming in at you. My other favorite one is also the starting room in Kino. That's a really small area. There's really no big open area to run, but there's a certain set path that you can actually take and you'll be fine. Same goes with Ascension. As long as you do the figure 8, you're going to be fine. And Zetsubou no Shima is kind of the same way. If you're running outside the bunker, as long as you go counterclockwise, you're going to be good. Now, if that's not really your thing, you can also try camping. Camping is a viable option in Zetsubou no Shima. As long as you have the upgraded Wonder Weapon, you're going to be fine. The upgraded Wonder Weapon is basically a mix between the Fire Staff and Liquefire. It's got the Lava Pool effect to where anything that runs over it is going to die. It also has this Liquefire effect to where it jumps from zombie to zombie and actually kills it. You're going to need a Gobble Gum or something because the Wonder Weapon doesn't really carry that much ammo. So you're definitely going to find yourself running out of ammo very, very quick. But as long as you have a Gobble Gum or two, you're going to be fine. So you can either run a very fast-paced, close-quarter combat strategy, or you could sit in a corner and camp, really whichever you prefer. Alright, so up next, we're going to be talking about what I personally think of the map, the goods and the bads. Now, this is just strictly my opinion, and you might have a different opinion, which is totally fine. You're allowed to have your own opinion. So I guess first we should start off with the bad and then get into the good. Probably really my main complaint with this map is I don't like having to build the Wonder Weapon, and I don't like having to build the upgraded Wonder Weapon. That really ruins the replayability factor for me. I don't want to spend 30 minutes upgrading this damn Wonder Weapon. Like, fuck, I could spend 30 minutes on a lot of other maps, and I'd be pretty far. But on this map, you could spend 30 minutes, and you're still not even on, like, round 10. Yes, you could go even farther, but the farther you go in rounds, the less likely you're probably going to upgrade your Wonder Weapon. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done on high rounds. Of course it can be done on high rounds. It's just the farther rounds you go, the more zombies are going to be spawning in, and it just makes certain steps actually harder. Like the step where you have to go underwater at the beginning of the round to actually water the plant. That just becomes 10 times harder, makes you have to rely more on Gobble Gum and more on your skull, and I just don't like having to build my Wonder Weapon. I'd rather get it out of the box and throw it in the Pack-a-Punch machine. It really does ruin the replayability factor when you have to take 30 minutes out of your day to actually build the Wonder Weapon. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't like having to do miscellaneous tasks just to get something that's actually one of the core values of the map. And the Wonder Weapon is a core value of the map. It's one of the core things in zombies is a Wonder Weapon on every map. And I don't like having to build it. It just really ruins the replayability factor, and it's just really a huge turnoff of this map. Like, when I think of this map now, I'm like, fuck, if I want to play this map, I gotta take 30 minutes out of my day to build this Wonder Weapon, and then upgrade it, and that's just a whole another ordeal, because you have to do all these challenges and stuff to get it upgraded. And some of the challenges are easy, and some are just really stupid, and it's just a huge ordeal just to get this Wonder Weapon upgraded. And that really kind of does turn me off on the map. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of is swimming underwater. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't really know why. It just doesn't, to me, fit in well. I mean, you might like it. I'm just not the world's biggest fan of swimming underwater. And I guess the last and final thing I'm not the world's biggest fan of, this really doesn't affect me that much, but it's actually the Wonder Weapon itself. Not really a huge fan of that kind of Wonder Weapon, of like a Fire Staff, Liquefire kind of Wonder Weapon, or like a Ice Staff, Storm Bow kind of Wonder Weapon, to where once you use it, it's going to be effective for like a couple seconds or something like that. So like with the storm bow, once you shot it, you got that lightning tornado. With the ice staff, once you shot it, you got that blizzard. With the fire staff, once you shot it, you got that lava pool effect. With the liquefier, once you shot it, it's going to go from zombie to zombie. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of wonder weapon. My personal favorite wonder weapons are like the scavenger, the thunder gun, the wave gun, stuff that, you know, kills zombies immediately, but doesn't have a lingering effect. But those are really the main flaws that I have with this map. There's probably some other ones that I can't remember right now, but probably the biggest one is just having to do miscellaneous tasks just to play the map. I'm not a fan of that. It really ruins the replayability factor for me. I would rather just get in the map and play. Like, I just want to do that. Now let's get on to the pros. One of the things I really like is the atmosphere. The atmosphere is amazing. It's not as creepy as I was led to believe. You know, they said this was probably going to be one of the creepiest maps, and, you know, to me, Varrock still holds that title. I like the map layout. I'm a kind of huge fan of this map layout. Really doesn't bother me too much. I hear some people complain about it, but to me, it's pretty nice. It reminds me a lot of Kino. I like that. It kind of has its own little section, so if you're playing with 4 people, everyone can kind of have their own sections, kind of spaced out pretty good. It's not just hallways like kind of Shadows of Evil was. Shadows of Evil had a lot of hallways and just narrow alleyways. It does have its narrow alleyways every now and then in its little hallways, but it also does have some big open areas. Not too big like Moon or anything, but it does have some, you know, open areas to where you don't just feel like you're being surrounded by walls and get that claustrophobic feeling. I also like the storyline. The storyline was pretty good, and I like some of the new weapons that came along. I like the MX Grand, and I like those dual pistols. The dual pistols are fucking nice, man. So is that MX Grand. Not a huge fan of the HD40, and the Razorback is, okay. I don't hate it, I don't love it. But I do like the MX Grand and the dual pistols, and I hope they return. Those are some pretty nice weapons. I do like how they brought back ways to get free perks, and I also have a love-hate relationship with those challenges. I hate how they're a vital step in actually upgrading the wonder weapon, but I also love how there's other challenges in the map that you could do. I wish they were just separate from the wonder weapon. That would make my life so much better. I don't like having to do those to get the wonder weapon. I'd rather get into a match, and if I feel like doing one, I can. But if I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it, and I can still get the wonder weapon. I also like the planting sort of aspect in a way. I like how you can do stuff to get rewards that don't directly impact what you have to do in the map. So they don't really directly impact my playing in the map. If I do, you know, water a plant, I get a babysitter, or I get a free drop, or I can get another perk slot. I can get things by doing other miscellaneous tasks, but these things don't directly affect the map. I like that. I don't like things that directly affect the map. I just would like to have some, you know, side quests that I can do to get little bonuses every now and then. Not stuff that I have to do. I don't like being forced to do stuff in zombies. I also like the new boss zombie. I thought it was a very, very well done Margwa. The Margwa was a huge pain in the ass. He had to shoot off each of its head, and those were, god damn, those are so annoying. But I feel like this is a toned down version and a better version of the Margwa. You have to shoot off its 3 heads, which are constantly there, but you really kind of have to unload some ammo into it. Or if you have the right weapon, you can almost kill them right away. So I really do like the Thrashers. I feel like they're a better version of the Margwa mixed with the Panzer. I get the Panzer feeling because in early rounds, the Panzer is kind of a pain in the ass, but really once you get your gun that you want, it's pretty easy to deal with. The Easter egg was okay. I didn't really love it. I didn't really hate it. It wasn't really, you know, my favorite thing. And the storyline was really nice. I like the Easter egg ending cutscene. I like that a lot. That was really, really nice. And overall, I'd have to say, out of a 1 out of 10 scale, 1 being Transit, 10 being my favorite map, Ascension, I would have to say this map is like a 6 or 7. I don't really love it. I'm not like in love with it, like, oh my god, this is my new favorite map. But I'm also not like, this is fucking terrible. This is like some Transit Die Rise shit. It's definitely not down there. I would say it's K. That's what I give this map, is it's K. You know, if somebody asks me, hey, do you want to go play some Zetsubou Shima? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go play it. I'm not going to be like, oh, scoff. No, that's a peasant map. I'm not going to be like that. I'd just be like, yeah, sure, let's go play for a little bit. I'm not going to be like, yeah, let's fucking do it. That's not going to be me. It's a K map. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's a pretty good map. Black Ops 3 has been doing pretty good so far with this maps. You know, the only real map that I've kind of hated was Shadows of Evil. And I feel like Treyarch always has this reputation with like the first map being hated. 5 was hated, even though that really wasn't a first map. It was one of the first maps, but it wasn't the first map. But it was really hated when it first came out. 5 was not really liked when it first came out. Transit was, oh god, don't even get me started on Transit. And Shadows of Evil. A lot of people really seem to dislike Shadows of Evil. So I feel like Treyarch really has a thing with first maps. They gotta make them shitty so that way the next maps look even better. But Zetsubou Shima is K. That's my overall review of it. So I'm very curious to know, what do you guys think of the map? Let me know in the comments. So if you guys could, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.